welcome to Dying Light 2, the game where you run away from zombies, punch zombies in the face, punch people in the face. Realize after you write the script that you are not, in fact, punching anyone, rather assaulting them with deadly weapons. Use a literal guitar neck out of desperation. That counts as a deadly weapon, right? Inevitably, choose to play multiplayer, as a result have even less of an idea what's going on, and much more. After finally completing this game, I think I have a pretty decent idea of what's going on in this desolate landscape, and can therefore legally give my opinions on it. Spoiler warning is in effect for this video. Leave now if you're going to be upset about receiving a spoiler. The story follows Aiden, a pilgrim who, along with the Night Runners, are part of a super secret society of superhero parkour runners who embark on an adventure to save Earth from the zombie apocalypse. Based on the gameplay you'll see here and in other videos, that'd be a believable sentence with how many freaking unbelievable things that I've seen in this game with the parkour. The parkour is fun to play around with, but no human would ever be A, dumb enough to try any of it, B, nor would they be able to. But hey, it's a video game, so who cares? In all actuality, I have a lot to talk about with this game. Some of it bad, a lot of it good. I still haven't fully figured out how I feel about the game overall, so come along with me on this adventure as I pick it apart, rate these 5 categories out of 10, with 5 being the average score, yay math, take the average and give you my certified review score of the game. Please like and subscribe if you like the channel and you want to see more content like this. So in an effort to keep everyone's goldfish brains on topic, let's jump into the video. To start off with, this game is stunning visually speaking throughout the whole thing. I couldn't really find any spots that I truly felt that they skipped out on the visuals, as long as realism isn't everything to you sometimes. For example, the way that vents look when you can use them as a boost for your hang glider just looks like a bunch of trash flying out of it, but I don't really see that as an issue, just a game mechanic. Another thing that I can really appreciate is the effort that went into maintaining the post-apocalyptic aesthetic through and through. Whether it be how they made different parkour elements just look like broken down pieces of building, or the fact that everything just kinda looks ragtag and desperately put together by people. The amount of time that went into these visuals is obviously nothing to be scoffed at. The first issue that I have with the graphics in this game is how clunky the characters' facial expressions and movements can be at times. It kind of breaks my immersion just a little bit when I can't stop laughing because this well-designed and for all intents and purposes, well-drawn, rendered, etc. character is being super dramatic about running 3 feet, or that their facial expressions don't really match their voice. Next, I did notice a lot of issues with frames dropping when first loading into the game and sometimes during random missions, but never consistently. However, a game that relies on parkour elements this heavily ideally shouldn't have these issues, especially when it affects how you make your jumps. This frame dip happens on every graphical setting that I've tried the game on, and everyone I've talked to that plays on PC at least says that they have the same issue. The only reason that I'm putting that issue in this section in particular is because sometimes the frames will get stuck on the blurry ones. So it makes the game look a little wonky, and it makes me feel like I'm sitting in on the world's most horrific PowerPoint presentation. Either way, the score that I'm going to give the visuals in this game is a solid 8 out of 10. Graphically speaking, it's so beautiful, but based on the reasons that I gave above, I have to set it back at least slightly. I love the sound design in this game, and it is one of the key features that helps to draw the player into the game. Everything sounds so good, from your footsteps hitting different materials, and different materials making different noise depending on the weather, to the way that chopping off some limbs of zombos sounds. The ambiance set by this game is terrifying, especially at night, as you can hear the sounds of people screaming, zombies growling, blood spilling, and more, all while running around trying to gather resources and complete missions. The way that water drips and buildings crumble while you're walking inside of them, mixed with the deafening silence of the building itself, just to name a couple of examples, helps to create multiple types of feelings of eeriness, dread, suspense, and anxiety, as you have to focus on traversing through the parkour elements and sleeping dead. The zombies, in my opinion, have the best sound design in this game by far, even with all the positives that I've already listed. I haven't had any issues with the sound design portion of the game whatsoever, even though I am usually plagued with annoyance after spending such a long time playing through a game and hearing the same sounds over and over again. I felt that in this game nothing was ever really overused, which I can appreciate. This game gets a 9 out of 10 in the sound design department. The music in this game didn't bother me, but I didn't feel that it was anything to write home about either. I do have to put a disclaimer in there for integrity's sake and say that I did play the game with streamer safe music on, as I did stream the gameplay of this game as well as recorded a lot of it, so I just wanted to play it safe. Either way, I don't feel that just because you turn off the copyrighted music, it should affect the quality of said music. So with all that being said, I don't have much to say about it. Not great, not horrible. It's a 5 out of 10. The main story in this game is super interesting, and I appreciate all the opportunities for you to change the outcome of the game as well as what happens leading up to those final moments. However, it was not delivered as well as I think I would have hoped at some points. This game at some points really just felt like errand running simulator, and I don't even want to get started on some of the dialogue in these boss fights. Their character development and naming conventions for a few of the side characters could really use some work. Like, really? Juan and Vinny? Okay, dude. That isn't to say that some of the characters weren't really well written and interesting. Aiden, Frank, Dr. Waltz, Spicy Latina Ahsoka.
Just go get him, would you? You climbed the fucking TV station tower. You can climb into an apartment.
Were all very interesting to get your first impressions about, hear more about, develop a relationship with, and finally get a payoff on. Although I'm one more give up on finding your sister, now fetch me some sneakers-esque mission away from taking you off that list, Lawan. Some characters in this game were able to make you care about them almost immediately before their unfortunate demise, while others are with you for the whole game and you either forgot about them until you see them again, or they just annoy you until you kill them off in some sort of story branch choice thing. I was pleased with how well the main plot took my expectations and then subverted them time and time again. I really wasn't expecting some of the twists that took place in this game. Of course there were times where I was able to see things coming, but I don't really hold that against the game. It's a decently long story with multiple branches that you can go down. I really can't complain about some spots being a little less quality than others, especially when they had to think of 4 different ways to tell the same story with mixing and matching how many characters are still there or still alive, etc. So bravo to them on that, especially after losing their art director in January of last year, about 6 years into the development of the game. Overall, I had a blast with the story, and it did keep me invested the whole time, minus some choppy delivery techniques and some questionable mission design. Therefore, I give the story in this game a 7.5 out of 10. I have a lot to say about the gameplay in this. A lot of it not good, unfortunately, as this game suffers from a lot of bugs, clunky parkour gameplay and controls, quality of life mechanics, and asset glitches that tend to take you out of the game just a little bit. For example, you can't just walk up to a ladder and climb it, instead you have to hit the jump button. Going from the glider to running or grabbing a ledge is super clunky, as it takes a while for the game to register that you're on the ground and trying to run. The grapple hook won't let you off of it unless you hit the jump button, even if you're trying to climb up a ladder or grab a ledge or your feet are literally on the ground. Just stuff like that makes me get a little irritated with how this game feels and plays. With that being said, the parkour for the most part does feel pretty smooth. It's just those key situations that bug the crap out of me, especially with how often they affect me. As for the larger issues I have, The boss fights are a huge one. Holy crap, if the hack-on fight wasn't so unbelievably bad, which is really sad because the waltz fight is even worse. We've got a freaking Neil Breen Superman over here bouncing all around and up and down while you're trying to kill him. He turns into the Flash apparently at one point and just disappears into a thick mist, tries to punch you when you dodge, hit him, and then runs away again. That's pretty much the entire mechanic for this whole fight. He just runs away from you and you have to find a moment to punch him. Or you can just pull out the crossbow and shoot him a bunch of times. The hack-on fight was similar, except his mechanic was just that he was freaking Michael Jackson with his moves. Impossible to hit with melee attacks, throwing knives, etc. All except for, you guessed it, bow attacks. So you just sit back after you figure that out and slowly pick at his health bar with a bow and arrow. Not only are there hardly any mechanics in these boss fights, I say with heavy emphasis on the quote unquote, but they're just the most bullet spongy bosses I've fought in a while. And on top of that, they must be part freaking cat because they have multiple lives all of a sudden. You melt down their health bar all the way, they appear to die, and then they just get back up to fight you yet again. I haven't fought bosses this bad in any game in my life, and that's saying something because I played Destiny 2, and even that game is figuring out how to do boss mechanics. Other than the boss fights, I had a lot of fun with the combat in this game. It always felt very crisp, albeit simplistic at times. I never felt as though things were happening in the combat that shouldn't have been, and it was always a lot of fun to see all the different ways that you could chop up these enemies, especially with the parkour combat aspects. I was always having fun figuring out how to climb these giant buildings too, even if sometimes you spend 10 minutes climbing up the thing only to realize that your checkpoint is actually at the bottom. RIP. The puzzles in this game were engaging, and I had fun doing them most of the time, until I got stuck on one because I'm actually an idiot and realized that the way inside was in front of me the whole time. Just remember to always drop down the folding ladders for the eventuality that you're gonna mess up your jump somehow, whether it be your fault or the game's, and fall to the bottom. All the problems aside, I still had a blast with this game, and every time I loaded it up, I had to be prepared to be in suspense the whole time, especially when running into like 3 volatiles while trying to track down some PKs, or while being in a dark zone when dawn hits. After doing all that by yourself for a while, you'll inevitably, if you have any, want to play with your friends. Which is really fun, honestly, as you can have a lot of fun racing each other for your next mission, watching each other get jump scared, and, you know, more gaming shenanigans that you can always get into with friends. But I swear to God, the next time Lawan slams a door in my face while I'm running from Waltz, I'm gonna lose it. With all that in mind, I give the gameplay in this game a 6.5 out of 10. Just because of how many bugs and glitches I've had, especially in multiplayer, and how clunky the parkour can be. Which is unfortunate because I really did have a lot of fun playing otherwise. Overall, my experiences in this game were a net positive, and I can say with a high degree of confidence that I do recommend you play this game, so long as you can deal with a few bugs and shenanigans here and there. Especially if they patch this game at all in the future, it'll be a lot of fun to play. I will definitely continue to play this game with friends, as well as trying to go back and get a different story outcome. Thus, my rating for this game is going to be an overall 7.2 out of 10. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel for more content. If you'd like to see some funny multiplayer moments from this game, why not give this video a try? With all that being said, this has been Fatal. Have a great day.